Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and on today's video, it's time for a manga series update. Couple of very quick notes. First of all, if you hear any residual noise such as a bus or any children screaming or the humming of an air conditioning unit, it is round 3 of the UK spontaneously deciding to throw a blast of heat at us, and if I was to try and film this without any kind of airflow going, I would be dead. And even though I've turned the aircon off downstairs, my uncle has his on, so that's coming through the floor. I can hear it very loudly, but I don't know if you guys can, so if you do, I'm sorry. It's either that or you watch me slowly boil alive, and I ain't doing that. I did a series update for my novel reading a couple of months ago, and I was like, at some point I will sit down and go through my manga updates. I went through my channel, didn't realise that I have never actually done a proper manga series update. So we are going, I'm not going all the way back to the beginning because I looked through in 2019, the series that I was reading then, I'm either still reading or I DNF'd and I've talked openly about. So we're going to talk about it from 2020 onwards is when I've got stuff that I want to talk about. I've got 4 categories of things. I've got the series that I have completed, the series I'm up to date with, the series that I've DNF'd, and then I will finish on the series that I am still currently in progress with. Gonna tell you now, that is by far the biggest category, because if you think that I am bad at completing novel series, oh boy, let me hold your hand when I tell you this. I am worse at manga. Yeah. A lot of it is the cost factor. Books, you know, you get 3 books in a series, that's say 30 quid, and you've got all 3 books and you're done. Manga, 3 volumes in a series, you're looking at, well, this one was, I think, like £13 just for the 1 volume, and it's an 11 volume series, so it gets very, very expensive. And it's not always that affordable and accessible, and I read a lot of manga online, but I don't enjoy reading manga online. I do prefer to have it in front of me so I can just, you know? So, I'm not going to tell you like what every single series is about. We would be here for the next 6 years if I did, and I only have 37 minutes left on my SD card, so I'm just going to tell you the title, and if you think it looks interesting, you're going to have to look it up yourself or ask in the comments and I'll give you a bigger run through there. So what I'm going to do for each category, we're going to go in date order. So we're going to start with the ones that I have completed, and that begins with 2020, where I began My Brother's Husband by Gengoro Tagame. This I finished in 2023. I absolutely love this series. It's one of my all-time favourites. And I didn't finish anything until 2024. So, you know, we had a 2-year gap where I didn't finish any series. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Adelaide Library System has got such an incredible choice. And also it helped that Ren also had quite a few manga, and I was able to get into a lot of their books, which meant I also got to finish Sweat and Soap by Kintetsu Yamada when I was over there, because Ren owns all of them. And oh, such a wholesome, cute romance. Bit weird in concept, bit weird at times in execution, but definitely one that I will return to and plan to get my own copy of at some point. I also, thanks to Ren's library, finished I Think Our Son Is Gay by Okura, and again, his a beautiful queer story. Most of the volumes got 4s and 5 stars. It's on my favourites. Then it was Love Me For Who I Am by Kata Konayama, who does now go by a different name. So the author's new pen name I will put here because I don't remember off the top of my head. But another queer, I will say, the series that I finished, there's a lot of queer series that I have finished. And again, this one, majority of the volumes got 4 and 5 stars, and I had an incredibly wonderful time. Also thanks to Ren's personal library, I did the duology of the Garlic and the Witch / Garlic and the Vampire. Very cute, very wholesome. A really cute, wholesome, fun time was had. And then thanks to the generic library system of Adelaide, I got Orange that I started all the way back in 2023. I finished it at the end of 2024. And we have the entirety of the Tea Dragon Society that I read and consumed while I was there. And again, loved almost all of them. Onto the series that I'm up to date on, I have the grand total of 2. The first of these is one that I started in 2022 and is an ongoing series, so obviously I can't read anymore because there are no more published in English, and that is Spy Family, which we all know has become an all-time favourite. Did start thinking that it was getting a bit slumpy, did start to wonder if maybe I'm not quite enjoying it as much, and then it threw something in there in the last volume that I read and I was like, never mind, I still love this, it's great. And then the other one is Brutal by Keiko Gama, who is currently on hiatus due to illness and has said that he doesn't know when or even if that series is going to be finished. But if you're in for a kind of gory revenge justice by a psychotic police detective, have at it. It's a great time. I had fun. Next up we have our second largest category, which are the DNFs. The oldest series that I started that I have since DNF'd is called Nightshade by Hannah Rose. This is a self-published graphic novel. I really enjoyed it when I first read it, and then I went to reread it last year and I was just so bored, and I realised that the art style just is not for me. So as lovely as Hannah was, and as much as I would like to keep going, I don't think I will with this one. I have 2 more from 2021. The first of these is The Promised Neverland. I absolutely hated volume 1. Did not enjoy the themes, the topics, did not enjoy how graphically it portrayed things, and it made me very uncomfortable, and I just decided I wanted to DNF. And then the other one is Fables. I got to volume 2. It's by Bill Willingham, and it's basically like Think Once Upon a Time but in graphic novel form. It had a fantastic premise. It just kind of, again, I was a bit bored and I didn't see where the story was going, and I was like, I'm 2 volumes in now, do I feel like I really want to invest another like 15 to 20 volumes? And the answer was not really no, so I've DNF'd. From ones that I started in 2022, we have Lore Olympus. This was going to be an all-time favourite of mine. I absolutely loved it up until a certain thing happened, and all I will say, for those that do know the story, there was like a separation and a time jump during that, and I felt that every single character changed and lost who they were, and everything that I loved about certain characters was gone, and other characters felt like they were taking up too much page space, and so I was like, nah, I'm out, I'm done. Then we had Ten Dance, which I thought I would enjoy, but I found the story was very jumpy, very non-linear, difficult to follow, and quite chaotic. So even though the visuals were great, I just wasn't having a good time story-wise, so I've DNF'd that. Then we have Flying Witch. You would think a story about witches and it's like coming of age and all of this, you would think would be absolutely my vibe, and I thought so too, but it just really wasn't, and I cannot remember a single thing that happened. And I read 3 volumes. And I'm someone that once I've read something, I never forget it, and I have forgotten it. So yeah, that one definitely out. And then finally we have Die by Kieran Gillen, I think's the main writer, who I have discovered I'm not a fan of how he lays out a story, because he is not very good at actually explaining things. He's quite good at throwing you into the action and being like show you now and explain it maybe at some point, but we're going to do it in such a way that you're never quite going to actually get what's going on. And I'm not here for that. He is going to be also in the pile of stuff that I am continuing. On that one, I was just like, this is just, I thought I'd enjoy it because it was going to be like lit RPG, and then I just didn't. For 2023, I'm having to keep looking at my notes, I apologise. We have one that might be a bit of a surprise, and that is Watakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. As a self-proclaimed otaku, I was like, yes, this is going to be the one for me. You know, two otaku who cannot seem to get a relationship, team up, date each other, and they're going to fall in love. I love him. Don't get me wrong. I would continue reading this for him. I cannot stand her. I've even now watched the anime that goes slightly further on than the first volume of the manga. And I hate how her whole attitude is, I'm not attracted to you, I'm not into you. And even after they start dating and he's doing all these wonderful things that show just how kind, caring and considerate he is as a partner, she's still just like, meh, you're not my type, I'm not attracted to you. And I'm like, dude, there's only so much a man can take that before even fake dating, he's gonna go, do you know what? Fuck you. This is why you can't hold a boyfriend. Not because you're an otaku, but because you're a bitch. And yeah. Then we had Spy Classroom, and I thought this was going to be really cool, seeing like all these kids trained to become spies, but I was bored, and I don't really remember anything about it, other than that the instructor was kind of hot. Given was a boy love manga that I thought I was going to really enjoy, because, you know, it's got a lot of my elements in. It's got boy love, it's got music, and it's got like found family, and again, just was bored, didn't really connect with any of the characters. And I also noticed a couple of like red flaggy behaviours coming in that I thought, not a fan of this, so I'm gonna nope out before it can get too problematic for me. Kaguya-sama Love is War. It wasn't really a bully romance, but it was not far off, and they're just so determined to show how superior they are to each other, and I'm just like, guys, you're not selling me that this is actually romance, because if you truly love someone, why would you want to treat them like absolute garbage? And another one that might shock a lot of people was Cat Plus Gamer. I loved volume 1, 5 stars, would still reread it again. It was gorgeous, it was sweet. By volume 3, I was bored shitless because it had absolutely nothing to it. It was all just purely, look at this cute kitten. And it started to get a bit tedious and repetitive, and I was just like, even as someone who is a cat lover and appreciates how beautiful the artwork is and how cute this is, the cuteness could only go so far before I started to be like, I need something extra now, I want something to bulk it out. And so I did end up DNFing it just because I just got so bored. 2024, we have quite the substantial list, and we're starting with Manly Appetites. Just nothing about this appealed to me. And again, lots of red flags, didn't enjoy. Escape Journey this is where I started to read quite a lot more boy love, and I was like, hey, maybe the genre has changed since I was a teenager. It's worse. I mean, there's some progress, but for the whole, it's worse. And Escape Journey, again, was one that was very non-linear, very jumpy, very chaotic with its storytelling, and I didn't enjoy the characters, and I didn't like their relationship. We have Gachi Okuta. I read the first volume. The anime has just come out in the last month, and I've decided that instead of reading the manga, I'm going to stick with the anime. I think the story is told better in anime format, and I preferred the graphics of the anime. I found that the art was great, but it was a bit too messy at times, and I wasn't having the best of time. But the story in of itself was great, so I am continuing that in anime form, but it does mean that I have officially DNF'd the manga. Chainsaw Man, again, story, very intriguing, really wanted to love it, hated the main character, and I like characters that are more than just obsessed over girls' boobs. Blue Lock is another one where I was really intrigued by the story. Weirdly, I hate sports, I hate watching sports, I have no interest in playing them or watching real life, but I am obsessed with sports anime. Yuri on Ice. I mean, I do love ice skating in real life. I do follow it as much as I can. Top 3 all-time favourite anime, probably top 2. It's between, it's tiny little split hairs between that and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. All Out, absolutely. I have no interest in rugby whatsoever. Rugby bores the shit out of me. I have watched that anime so many times now, I probably could recite it. I'm not going to, but I probably could. And Blue Lock is another one. It's about soccer or football if you're British and use the correct term that it's supposed to be. But with that one, I didn't enjoy it reading it, but again, it's now got an anime. I've watched a couple of episodes and I'm like, this is so much better because I can actually visualize what they're trying to tell me in the action. So I will, again, DNF the manga and go straight to just watching the anime. The Girl from the Other Side by Nagabe, I want to say. I could be wrong. But it was dark and gothic, but I just didn't enjoy the world building or the story that it was trying to tell, and I was just bored. So I decided to DNF that. Soul Eater, sadly, and I know that that's probably a bit gutting to both Ren and Jonah, but both of them have said that they get it. I hated the fan service so fucking much. If you're writing a manga and drawing images of underage girls, why the fuck are you drawing up their like showing their underwear and giving full view shots up their skirts of their underwear? It is not necessary. And in quite a few cultures and countries, it is illegal. And I know people say, oh, once you get past a certain point. No, I shouldn't have to get past a certain point to not see sexualization of children in manga. Thank you, I'm out, bye. And I'm sorry if you love that series and all of you people who think it's the greatest thing ever. It's fine, it could be. But that, why are we supporting that? The next one is quite a sad one because it's another queer manga, but that is Confessions of a Shy Baker. His insecurities are so toxic and has shown absolutely zero character growth throughout this. Everyone around him has shown growth and acceptance and love, but he is getting worse. And I'm just like, nah. Oh, I forgot this one. One that I actually read a few years ago, but I have gone back, reread the first volume and realised I'm really uncomfortable with this, is 10 Count. I thought I was going to really enjoy it, but then I realised that actually it's kind of dodgy that this is a therapist and his client that are going to enter the romance, and I'm like, that is an absolute power play dynamic that is abusive as all holy hell. And I know that he does back out of being the therapist because he's getting feelings, but I'm like, it's still a very weird power play. And I have heard in later volumes that the one that falls in love first gets very pushy and it becomes like a forced, like, oh, I know you don't want me to kiss you, but I'm so desperate for it, I'm gonna like kiss you and then start having sex with you even though you're saying no, but I know that you're gonna like it once we actually get started. That's rape, babes. That's rape, and we should not be promoting it, so bye-bye. Speaking of another absolutely messed up, effed up, what the hell, killing stalking, why is this a thing that people are loving and enjoying and promoting as romance? No. It's a fascinating look at psychosis and infatuation, but to call this a dark romance is an out lie. This is horror through and through. There is nothing romantic about this. It is coercion, Stockholm syndrome, infatuation, stalking. It is not romantic. I said it. It's no. Next up we have Sad Ghost Club by Liz Meddings, I think it is. I liked the message that was trying to get across about mental health and having a support group. Unfortunately, it just fell flat for me in terms of anything else, and I just didn't get the feels from it that I was hoping to, and I just had no interest in continuing. From this year, way back in January, I read The Witch Boy, and as much as I thought the first volume was fine, I don't feel it's a story that I need to continue on, and I don't think it needed any extra stories, but I know it has continued as a series. I have no interest. I'm Kind of Chubby and I'm Your Hero. Kind of found it a little bit meh. It's labelled as a boy love romance. Yeah, I've been told by people that have read both volumes that it actually doesn't end up as a romantic relationship. So I'm like, oh, so it's queer baiting. Fantastic. Love that when you're trying to find good representation in manga. Another one, Candy Colour Paradox. Again, I thought this was going to be great because you've got these two opposing personalities and like they're both in journalism but in very different areas and they're going to clash and it's going to be great. And I was bored. And it was another one that is something that Boy Love Manga does that, again, the storyline, it was so focused on the romance that the storyline really suffered and became nonsensical, and it just became this jumbled mess of jumping around. And when the romance did come, it came so out of the blue, and again, red flag, guy gets kissed without any sort of consent and without the other guy giving even the tiniest hint that that's what he wanted. Yeah, no. Not for me, thank you very much. My cross-dressing classmate is an Otonoke, something like that. It's got a very long title and I can't always remember it. At first I was like, oh, that's really cute that she's accepting no matter what, but then I realised that no, she's just weird and creepy and is kind of fetishes, kind of treating it as a bit of a fetishy thing. I'm out. I Want to Love You Till Your Dying Day is another one that depicted children in sexual situations, had 10-year-olds proclaiming everlasting love to each other, showing on-page kissing between said 10-year-olds, and a school nurse who is a fully grown adult woman who quite possibly may also be a cross-dressing man, who licking her lips at the prospect of getting to kiss one of those children to heal them. Enough said, I think. And then finally, another one that is going to hurt a couple of people, and I'm so sorry, especially as like we created an entire group chat just for this, is Tokyo Ghoul. The art in Tokyo Ghoul is so different to how it's drawn in the anime. 9 times out of 10, when manga is turned into an anime, you can instantly recognize the characters from, like, whether you've read the manga or not. You look at the anime and you go, I know that manga. I've seen those characters. It's so distinctive. Tokyo Ghoul is so different. It took, when I was reading it, I was like, am I actually reading the correct series? And I found that I preferred the way the storyline progressed in the anime. So I have, at first I soft DNF, but since preparing to film this, I have decided that is now a hard DNF for me. I will not be continuing, and I'm so sorry. And that is it for the DNFs. That's where we're at with those, which leads us to the biggest stack that I'm not even going to attempt to pick up because A, I'm too hot and starting to feel a little bit faint and may have to take a break, and B, I really, really, really don't want to be crushed by books today. So, going back to 2020, we have one that I forgot to take off the shelf to add to the pile, but it's easy to get to. Heartstopper. I'm up to date. I've just realised that one wasn't up to date. Never mind, I have not still, I'm still in progress, but I am technically up to date with Heartstopper. Duh. And then the one that I said earlier where Kieran Gillen would be making a reappearance, we have Once a Future. I have started to get into a bit of an Arthurian phase, not as fully as somebody I know who is kind of deep diving it in a huge hyper-focus way right now, and it's quite terrifying to watch the efficiency of. But I did reread this and was like, okay, I am still vaguely interested, even though I still think that some of the storytelling is a bit under-explained and underdeveloped, but maybe as I continue reading it, it will start to make a bit more sense. Probably won't, but I can try. I had to take a break. I got a bit too hot and started to get a bit faint and dizzy. I should be okay now. So, continuing on. 2021 was where I first got into My Hero Academia, and as you know, I am currently 23 books into my reread / completion of it, and now my uncle has up to like volume 33, so I'm now making my way through those. We have A Man and His Cat by Umi Sakurai. I'm on volume 2. I was going to try and finish more of this when I was in Australia because Ren owns like the first 4 or 5. But I didn't get round to it, but I have read the first 2 and I do plan on getting to these very soon. Fence by C.S. Picat. I'm up to volume 5, but I think that it's now on like, I think there's a 6th or even a 7th volume, and I know there's more planned. But I've been having a great time with this, and we're finally, it's definitely got a slow burn in this, and I love a slow burn, and yeah, it's great. Perfect World by Rie Eruga. This is one that I keep flipping and flopping between DNFing and continuing, and then every time I think I'm going to DNF it, I read it again and go, actually this is really gorgeous and beautiful. And I've now read something else by the author. She'll be coming back in a little bit, and honestly I really want to continue it. So that's what I'm going to do. Eventually. Maybe. And then we have one that I did originally DNF, but now I've decided I'm going to try it again, and that is Boys Run the Riot. I DNF'd it because I wasn't sure at the time if I did enjoy it, but now that I'm trying to read queer fiction again, and especially queer rep in manga, and this has a trans main character, which is almost unheard of in manga, I've decided I'm going to go back and give it another go and give it more than 1 volume. So this one is now back out of the DNF graveyard and is now back into continuation limbo. For 2022, I should have said Fence for that instead, but I got my dates wrong, but that was 2022. Oh, as was Perfect World. I got ahead of myself because I'm hot. I'm trying to like hurry up and I'm like, ah! My brain is frazzled. Start off with one of my all-time favourite series, I Hear the Sunspot by Yuki Fumino, and honestly, absolutely adore this. I'm up to volume 5, but there is now, I think, 6 and 7. It has continued far beyond what even the author was originally expecting. So I still need to get to a couple of those, but I have done a significant chunk of this series. And I was up to date on it for about 2 years. So, you know, at one point I'd finished it. Then we have Mao by Rumiko Takahashi, and I have been enjoying this. I've read the first 5. Do I own the first 5 or 4? 4 or 5, because I keep being able to get them on deals and getting them a bit cheaper. Still having a great time. It has hit a tiny little bump that I'm not sure if I want to get over, but we will see eventually. We have Imakoi, and honestly I didn't think I would enjoy this one so much because it's a high school first love, everything I don't typically enjoy, but apparently if it's in manga or anime form, I will enjoy it. I just don't like reading it as a novel, but I can kind of enjoy it if it's in visual form like this. The art in this is some of the most stunning. Like, look at him. He is absolutely gorgeous, and just all of the artwork in this is so pretty. I just, oh, yeah. I would continue it just for the artwork alone, not gonna lie. The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today by Hitsuzi Yamada. Again, is another one that is an all-time favourite series. It has kind of hit a similar stage to like Cat Plus Gamer, where I'm starting to wonder if there is enough of a plot going on, and it is starting to reach a point where the slice of life has gone from being really sweet and cute to now I kind of want that life to get a little bit more structure to it. And have a little bit more of an overarching story, but I do think we are about to start getting that. But I am currently 8 volumes into this, 7 or 8 volumes into this, so again, significant chunk, almost up to date. Way of the House Husband by Kosuke Ono. I got this because I watched the anime. I love the anime and the story and how that's all been done, and it's a very different and unique style. The manga is pretty much a play-by-play of the anime, where most manga tend to have little bits extra in the manga, or the story's told slightly differently between the two media. This is play-by-play identical. There's not really anything extra, so it's kind of one of those, I will read it and collect it, but it's not a priority because I can just watch the anime and know exactly what's going to be in the manga. The Summer You Were There by Yuama. This is a sapphic one, and is one that I think I'm just scared is going to go down a very depressing, dark and sad route, and I just, you know, in 2 years haven't wanted to put myself into that mood, so I've avoided it. I don't know why this one is in 2023 when I know I started this in like 2019, but we have Black Butler. Just recently read the 3rd volume. This is one of the very rare times that I will say I prefer the anime, and that I've not been enjoying the manga as much. I prefer the artwork, I prefer the story, and I prefer the characterizations of these characters in the anime series, so I don't know if this is one that I will continue, but considering my uncle owns almost all of them, it would be stupid to not continue when they're free and they're there and I can just read them. So we shall see. This one's a tentative continuation. Next up, Natsume's Book of Friends. This is another one that's kind of like a will I, won't I. I do want to get to it, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen, and I'm probably going to sort of try and either get this like really cheap somewhere, or I know it's a difficult one to get a hold of because it's not a common one that's in print and not found in a lot of booksellers. So it might be one that I have to try and source online somewhere to read, because I might struggle to get hold of these. But I really like the stories of the little like yokai and the little spirits and all of that. I was having a really great time, and the cat was great. So if you're looking for manga with cats. And then we're moving into last year, so 2024. Brilliant year for me for manga, but means I have a heck of a list to get through. First up, Ex-Yakuza and Stray Kitten. This was my first manga of last year. I am now up to volume 2 out of 5. Again, was one I was planning on getting to because Ren's got all of them, I believe, and I just didn't. But really, really cute, really, really wholesome, and just the fact that it's like Yakuza, ex-Yakuza running a cat cafe or a pet cafe. So cute. I love it so much. We have Sign of Affection that I have read volumes 1 to 3, and is another one that the gorgeous art style is incredible. Like, just all of the art is beautiful. The way it's laid out, everyone is great. The characters are fantastic. The relationship is super cute, super wholesome, and it has deaf rep. And I think the deaf rep in here is fantastic. Like, it very clearly shows the sign language and it talks about it really openly, and I absolutely love it. Next up we have Covenant by Lysander Avon, which is a graphic novel, and just so good. The only reason I haven't gotten to this is because I know the author was having a big clash with webtoons, and I didn't want to support webtoons while they were treating the author like absolute crap. From what I'm aware, Covenant has now been removed. That relationship is done. So I will have to get that one either online, or I will have to try get a physical copy of it to continue it, which is why I've not continued it. But yeah, I had such a good time with this one. BL Metamorphosis, Boys Love Metamorphosis, very cute, very wholesome. Isn't actually a BL manga, so please don't go into it thinking that it is. It's actually a really cute friendship between an old woman and a young woman, as one helps the other learn about boys love, and it's just so beautifully written. But it does primarily focus on their friendship, not about a romantic couple. So if you are interested in boys love as a genre and understanding the genre more, read it. But if you're just wanting to read a boy love manga about two males falling in love, maybe skip this one. The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, one of the cutest and most wholesome. I've only read the first one, but I think this one also has a manga, an anime out now, which I think I might switch to reading the anime, watching the anime for now. Because even though it's cute, again, because it's so pricey to get the volumes, it might be easier to just use my Crunchyroll subscription to watch it. So we will see. If it does, I'll post it here. And it's nice to have one where they're still involved in the Yakuza, because it seems like I tend to pick up books where it's like ex-Yakuza. So I like it that it's someone who's still in the Yakuza and showing how they balance being soft and tough. It's cute, it's great. Then we had the one that everyone was like, oh my god, you're actually going in for it, when you have been saying for 20 plus years that that is never gonna happen. And I went, yes, because I am a sadist. I think, considering I only started reading One Piece this year, and I think I've done well, because I am 15 volumes in already. I could have gotten a bit further. I do own up to volume 18, so I could have been a little bit further on by now. But, you know, 15 volumes in 7 months, and 12 of those were in 1 month. Not too bad. Again, thank you so much to Adelaide Libraries for not being shit. But yeah, I've dived in. I am having a mostly good time. There's been a couple of volumes that have kind of been a bit average to meh for me. But on the whole, I've been having a great time, and I have kind of fallen in love with this cast of adorable rogues. And season 2 trailer just dropped, and I may have nearly cried. And they've confirmed season 3. It's a good day to be a One Piece fan, of which I am still a baby, but I now consider myself. Another one on the, at the moment I'm saying yes, but I may end up DNF'ing, is Your Name. It's basically a manga serialization of the movie with the same name and same story. It's just the manga version, so I might just try the movie and switch to that instead. But it was cute, and I'm interested to see where the story goes next. One that is just a little bit of fun, and I, as a cat owner, I was like, yes, I relate heavily to these little balls of doofuses, and that is My Cat Is Such a Weirdo. So many of the behaviours in here I feel like are just universal to cats in general, because so many of them my idiot does. She's adorable. She's currently asleep outside because it is so hot she kind of just became a marshmallow, but it's so cute and fluffy. And the good thing with this, it is literally written as snapshot and here's what it's like to be a cat owner. It's not got any story. So unlike other ones where, you know, it's a story that's a slice of life, this is actually more like an autobiography about what it's like to be a cat owner, and it's just so fun. My lovesick life as a 90s otaku, I was more of a 2000s otaku, because that was when I really started, like 2004, 2005 was when I started to heavily get into all of that. So I wasn't quite as in the 90s, but a lot of the stuff that was being regarded as nostalgic in this was still very prevalent in the 2000s. And it didn't really start shifting until sort of the late 2000s to the early 2010s. So for me, it's still nostalgic. I absolutely loved it. I'm having a great time with it. And I'm 3 volumes into that one out of 4, I believe. Next up we have mint chocolate. Normally you say to me stepbrother, stepsister romance, I go, ew, no, get it away from me. However, they are older teens, have only just met, and they had no kind of, they didn't grow up together, their parents didn't know each other for years, anything like that. Had they grown up together and had been step siblings for years, absolutely would I have been like, get out. But yes, they've been classmates for years and they know of each other, and one had had a crush on the other, but actual step siblings, it's brand new, only just happened. And yeah, so I was kind of okay-ish with that one. Suzume is another one where it's the manga adaptation of the film, but I did have a fantastic time. I remember laughing quite a bit, and the guy being turned into a chair had me kind of like, this is insane. But is another one, I'm going to see if I can get the film and give the film a try as well, but if not, I'm just going to continue with the manga. Let's Play is another one that I used to read on webtoons, but I'm really trying to avoid webtoons now, considering how badly they treat their authors. The deadlines and the demands they put on the authors is frankly disgusting. And so yeah, I'm trying to not go onto the app as much as possible, which is why I haven't continued that. The Yakuza's Bias, it's only a duology. I've read the first one. Really need to get to the second one. Absolutely hilarious because it crosses a Yakuza and K-pop. It's just so chaotically funny. You've got to give it a go. Then we have my manga of the year for last year, which was Dinosaur Sanctuary. I'm on volume 5 out of now 7, I think, have now been released in English. Hands down, the artwork is one of the best I've ever read. The story is great, the characters are fantastic and well-rounded, just everything about this is sheer perfection. I don't think I've rated any of these 4.5, like lower than 4.5 stars. They've all been so good. Please do go check it out. Another one in the My Hero Academia, where did Vigilantes go? I skipped it. I have 2 in the My Hero Academia universe, one that I forgot to mention when I was talking about 2023, and then one that I started last year. My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which is set 10 years before the main My Hero Academia story, and we follow unregistered heroes who, unregistered people who work as heroes, but they're vigilantes, which is illegal. They're using their quirks when they don't have licenses and things, but we then see a lot more of the kind of the underground side. So it gets hinted at in My Hero Academia, but we don't see a lot of it. So I like that we got to see that more underground side, and we got to see some of the more not so flashy stuff that we see happening in My Hero Academia. And then the other one is My Hero Academia Team Up Missions, which takes place in the same timeline as My Hero Academia, and it just has little bonus adventures following the students going and doing missions and showing how different heroes team up with the students to showcase their skills and things. So we get to see more characters take the spotlight than maybe do in the series, and that's really lovely to see. So I've got all of those, basically the entirety of My Hero. Just this is the year of My Hero for me. Then we have Kaiju number 8, which is one that I read the first 2 volumes. The anime just came out 3-4 weeks ago it started. It's so funny, so good, and for now I'm just going to stick with the anime, considering, I don't have a way of getting the manga right now. But so stupidly funny, but has a really solid plot as well. Mr. Villain's Day Off, just a cute and silly little thing. I'm still not sure yet if I want to continue it. I might just give the next one a go to see if I want to go, but for now it's like a will I, won't I? If I can get it, I will. Otherwise, I'm really not that bothered. Our Not So Lonely Planet travel guide. Some of the art I really like, some of the art I really don't. The characters are kind of meh for me, but what I do love is all of the travel and all of the the love the author clearly has for all these different countries, and so I am intrigued to continue this and see where it's going to go. High School Debut I read as a recommendation for cute and wholesome all-time favourite mangas, and honestly I am loving these 2. Their dynamic is great, and even though yes it's got very early 2000s vibes, still having such a good time. And for me, this was the kind of manga I was reading when I was a teenager. I didn't read this one, but manga like this, it's got Hot Gimmick. I read that when I was 16. Yeah, I was 16 when this came out. So things like Hot Gimmick I was reading. So this one, definitely looking forward to. And then finally we have Rauken Notices Me. There's no official English translation for this, so I did have to procure this one online. It was so cute. We have a plus size love interest female main character, which never ever happens in manga. And it was wonderful to see a larger girl being represented and loved. I could forgive it being a high school romance just for that. It was so cute. It was adorable. And then finally we are on to 2025 and we're kickstarting with Zombie Loan, which is another nostalgic one for me because I was reading this when I was, again, quite young. This came out in 2007, so I was 16, so I was reading this as a teenager, and yeah, it was just a fun one to go back to. It also kind of fits into horror, which is great because I am reading horror currently, and yeah, it's just a nice little nostalgic one, even if it does have a couple of problematic things that are very like 2000s-esque with like people insulting each other and stuff, but it's fine. We understand that things that were written in the past were written with reflecting that time's thing does not mean that we need to carry it forward, and I have the maturity to understand that. And we have Old Fashioned Cupcake, which I thought was a standalone, but Ren says does have a sequel, so I want to get to that, and is another really sweet, cute, wholesome boy love that is on my green flag list. I loved it. Kakurio Bed and Breakfast for Spirits is another one that isn't my usual go-to genre. I don't really tend to do isekai very much, but I did have a fun time with this and I really liked the Kitsune character in it, so I'm looking forward to seeing more from him. Birds of Shangri-La is another boy love manga that I know I read years ago, and then I started rereading it when I was at Ren's and was like, yes, I have definitely read this and I know I enjoy it. I now need to get to volume 2 and 3 and finish that one. Crossplay Love Punk Cross Otaku. I absolutely need to get to this. It's going to be a priority series, if not for the rest of this year, but definitely for next year. This will be a priority series for me because I had the best time, and if it continues the way the first volume did, not only is it going to be on my green flag list of boy love, I think it's also going to become an all-time favourite series, so I absolutely want to get to this one as soon as possible. The Moon on a Rainy Night is another sapphic one. It also features Death Rep, and again, I thought those elements were really well done. It was lovely to see a Yuri manga and a sapphic manga that hasn't had the girls drawn as children, because that is a big pet hate when like they chibify characters in Yuri and then have them doing these things, and you're like, you're drawing these as even though they are fully grown adults, you're drawing and stylizing them as children having those kind of things. That's not okay. That is, again, sexualizing children and fetishizing Yuri in a way that makes them appear and sort of implying that sapphic relationships are more immature and childlike. No, not cool. But this one does not do that, and it is wonderful to see teenagers drawn to look like teenagers, and there's no sort of sexy stuff. It's just very wholesome and wonderful and organic, and I did really love it. Fangs is another one I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to continue, because even though the art was great, the characters were great, and there were some brilliant moments, I had no idea what was going on the whole time, and Jonah, who is much further on in the series, has said that that doesn't change, so I'm not sure if I do want to continue, but for now it will stay in limbo. My Boyfriend is a Dog. That was just a silly, cute one that when I am in the mood for something a bit silly and cute, I will go back to. Bad Boys Happy Home, another one. I think it has potential to go a bit darker, and I think it does go a bit darker as the series progresses, but at the moment it's just a bit of fun, and is currently on my greenish, like it's more green than yellow, list of boy love, so we shall see how that progresses. Breakfast with My Two-Tailed Cat, similarly to like A Man and His Cat and things like that, I absolutely adored it. I gave it 5 stars. I think it's going to be super cute and wholesome. I'm worried that it's going to become a little bit too repetitive and samey as it continues, but I will at least try the second volume. Sketchy, honestly, I didn't expect to read a book about someone trying out skateboarding, and it inspired me to try something new, not necessarily skateboarding because I don't have a death wish, but certainly something new, and I did, and I loved it. I had a great time. Can't wait to continue that. The Ayakashi Hunters Demon Bride, I had such a great time. The story and the world building wasn't brilliant. The magic was very badly explained and I had no clue what was going on there. But the artwork was gorgeous, the characters were fantastic, and I am already heavily invested in this relationship. So this is another one that I want to try and prioritize getting to sooner rather than later. Then Rie Aruga, who I mentioned earlier with Perfect World, she makes her return with Sheltering Eves, and of the two stories, I think this is the one that I'm a little bit more invested in the relationship and the characters of this one, especially because the male lead in it is definitely a contender for the Tortured Emo Boys, and so obviously I need to read more of him in order to bring him into that list at some point. If you haven't seen those videos, please do go check them out. So I definitely will continue with that one. Blue Flag is just a green flag of characters, and I've been having a wonderful time. I'm only on the first volume, but that first volume was brilliant. It was a little bit confusing as to who everyone's relationship and infatuation to who actually was, but eventually I did get there, and I can't wait to see how everyone is gonna work it all out and how it's all gonna unfold. Dead Rock, I very much had issues with some of it. There is a lot of, again, I wasn't happy that it was supposedly a book aimed at 13-year-olds showing very sexual toned stuff that I was like, this is not appropriate, maybe for a 16-year-old, but not a 13-year-old, absolutely not. And everyone, I'm not overreacting, every single person who I have then shown the thing that made me say that have all agreed. So it's not just me being, you know, like overly cautious and being like, oh, you know, like, no. Even as a 13-year-old, I would have been like, this isn't appropriate for a 13-year-old. I still would have read it, but I would have noted it. But I did enjoy some of the characters and humour, so I've said I will give at least the next one a go, but if at the end of that it continues on the same trend or I just don't fall in love with it, then I'm just going to DNF. Blue Exorcist, I have watched some of the anime, but the anime kind of followed the manga to begin with, and then it did its own thing and has now tried to retcon and go back. And apparently it's just very confusing, so I've decided to just go with the manga, and I've been having a fantastic time. I've done the first 3 volumes. My uncle owns, I think, up to like volume 15 or something like that, and so I will definitely be continuing. I do kind of prefer the artwork of the anime over the manga. I do think that the manga is a little bit more simplified than the anime, but still great. I still love the characters, and Shemi is just, I love her so, so much. And then we are finally at the end with our final one, which is Nyankees, that was sent to me by Jonah, and is another one that if you love cat manga, you need to read this series. So in total, I worked out I've got 95 series. Of those, 55 of them are ongoing, 2 of them are up to date, and 7 of them are complete. So that's 31 DNFs, which, you know, quite a lot over a 5-year period. I'm going to do a follow-up to this video where I'm going to talk through the priority series that I want to get to sort of either by the end of this year, or certainly that will be my main priority for next year. And yeah, let me know in the comments what is your favourite manga series that you are currently reading. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all good, I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!